Hi, I'm Kerri, Curator of Art at the Ferens, and I'm looking at this fantastic, dark and atmospheric work by John Atkinson Grimshaw. Grimshaw was born in Leeds and came from quite humble working class background. He was a self-trained artist and he studied the work of John Ruskin as a way of training. So Ruskin is now known as perhaps the founding father of art history. He wrote a series of books looking at art, particularly within the Victorian period, but contextualizing it with the history of art. So Grimshaw drew on what Ruskin had written, and Ruskin particularly looked at nature and light and dark, and also atmospheric change within work. He was particularly interested in the work of Turner, who went to the Alps and captured amazing cloud forms high in the mountains. So Grimshaw was using all of this knowledge to create his own style of art, to think about the subject that he wanted to create. But he drew on what he knew, quite literally. He started to paint the streets of Leeds. He lived in Scarborough for a while and painted all around there. And then he came to Hull and other cities in Yorkshire and towns as well to capture them. So what we see here is the old Prince's Dock, where the shopping centre now is. So it looks very different within this work. You see a really wide cobbled street, which is unusual for the Victorian period because of course there weren't cars, there were carriages, which were generally narrower. There was a bit less traffic than there is on the streets of Hull today. But the reason why they're so wide is because there was so much activity happening at the docks. Hull, during the Victorian period, was an incredibly busy city with lots of wealth coming in and going out of it. And this can particularly be seen by all the many masts of the ships. And in the centre, you can just see the outline of the top of a steamer as well. So not just sailing ships, but some more modern steamships as well were coming into Hull. In the background, we can see Wilberforce's column. Interestingly, it was outside where the Ferens is now, originally. So Wilberforce's column was moved to the end of Queen's Gardens, where it can be seen today still. So it's interesting to see how the city has changed over time. We can also see the historic dock offices in this work with the 3 domes on top of them. This, of course, is now the Maritime Museum, which is going through a massive redevelopment and still very much at the heart of the centre of Hull. So when we're looking at this work, what we're really seeing is the detail. So when you first see it across the galleries, you can often dismiss Grimshaw's work because it is dark, but there's light as well that pulls you in. In the top part on the right-hand side, you can see moonlight. You can't see the moon, but you can see the effect it's having on the clouds. So again, a bit evocative of what Ruskin was writing about Turner's atmospheric effects with the clouds and light and dark and the light of the moon in this case. But the main lighting is the street lighting and the light from the shops and the pub in the background. And that's gas lighting, which Grimshaw really liked to capture, so a much warmer light. What he does is lure you in to focus on the details. You can see a woman who's just stepped out of a shop, maybe locked up for the evening. She's about to open her umbrella and someone in the background has their umbrella up already, so we know it's a rainy evening in Hull. And Grimshaw really liked this because he's taken the cobbles and he's bouncing light off them as well. So very much drawing you in. So you're getting the atmosphere of what it was like in that evening in 1882 in Hull. And then in the background, you can see groups of men probably coming from one of the ships. after a long voyage or a hard day's work unloading, going home, or maybe off to the pub in the background. So this work really takes us into Hull and lets us know what it was like of an evening in 1882. So quite different than the shopping centre you find today. So thank you for joining me exploring this incredibly popular work. Hopefully you'll come to the Ferens and give it a closer look.